Hi there everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to my channel. Amongst other things, I'm a reenactor and a jouster, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the film Medieval. Now this video review came about because Bernadette Banner, who has a great channel doing historical costuming and she does reviews of different films and things, she was looking for someone to come onto her channel and review the film Medieval for her end of year review. So you can check out that video in the description down below. But I wanted to do a slightly longer version as well, because there were so many historical films and series coming out this year that the space given in her review was a lot shorter. So I thought I could go into a bit more detail on my channel. If you're here from Bernadette's channel, hi, welcome. We do this sort of thing. We also talk about reenacting and jousting and historical martial arts and all of that sort of thing. I hope you'll enjoy your time here. Anyway, guys, the film Medieval. If you haven't seen it, it is about Jan Žižka, who is a famous Czech military leader. He apparently never lost a battle, but if you watch this film, it's based around his earlier life that we don't really know a lot. So he does lose a few battles in this one as well, even though in his later life, in his recorded life, he doesn't. It has a pretty good cast. It's got Michael Caine. Who doesn't love Michael Caine? But there are some big problems with it. I said in my review on Bernadette's channel that there were some really great things that I liked about it, but there were also some problematic things as a medieval historian. Now, some of you might be saying, hang on a second, Zach, this is just a film. It's just for fun. It's not meant to be a documentary or anything like that. And I completely agree with you. You can enjoy it and you can have fun watching it, you know, just like Braveheart, just like Robin Hood, all of that sort of thing. Please do go ahead. I quite enjoy watching it for those reasons, but I also enjoy thinking about the historical things that attach to it, and I know that more people on YouTube and on the internet do as well. So this video is for me, it's for them. If this sort of thing upsets you, that we're commenting on tiny little details, then please do check out some of the other videos on my channel. They're not all like this. Anyway, one of the first big problems that I have with the film is that it is all color graded. It's really, really dark and dingy. Everywhere has this kind of grey blue / muddy tinge to it. And it's really a shame. Some films do that really, really well. So many medieval films really go for that color grading, and it just makes it into a place where you don't really want to be. Medieval Europe was extremely colorful. They loved their bright colors, and it would be nice to see some of that in a medieval film for once. Secondly, another thing, this happens all the time in movies, not just medieval movies, it is the lack of helmets on main characters. Now, obviously someone is going to say, but they need to be able to see the actor, you know, they've paid money for that actor's face and they want the actor to be able to emote. And if this was the only medieval helmet that was available, then I'd completely understand. These helmets, this is my jousting helmet, by the way, and this completely covers the face. You can't see anything of the actor inside, and that's kind of the point of it, to be the most protective helmet possible. But these aren't the only helmets available in the medieval period. In fact, many battlefield helmets left the face completely uncovered. This is my sallet, and this comes from a period slightly later than the film Jan Žižka. About this one could have been worn from about 1430, maybe 1440, and you can see that this helmet provides pretty good protection, but it completely leaves the face open. You can wear it like this, and we often see it being worn like this in manuscripts. You can also wear it down so that the visor is covering the upper part of your face, and you can fit a second part to cover the lower part. Finally, this has also got the option of raising the visor. Things like this were around all the time. I don't have an earlier helmet from the time of Jan Žižka, but they are using helmets like this on background characters. They just don't give any to the main characters, which kind of feels a bit weird, that the foot soldiers are better armored than the main characters. Number 3, the evil guy is so evil. His costume follows all of the Hollywood tropes for evil characters. He's wearing, in some ways, a costume that is very similar to the main character, Jan Žižka. They're both meant to be mercenaries, and the evil guy is meant to be the guy who had taught Jan Žižka or had been his commander earlier on, but then Jan kind of moves away and does his own thing. And they're wearing similar outfits, which is understandable. You know, that gives a nice way of linking the two together. But there's a few things about the costume that are just like Jan but evil. The brigandine that Jan wears is slightly later than the film is supposed to be, but you know, we can understand that it's about 30 to 40 years later, maybe a bit more. The brigandine that the evil guy wears is not particularly good at all. It just looks like studded leather. It's nowhere near as nice as Jan's. Not only that, the other armor that he's wearing are some Gothic gauntlets, so he's got fluting on the knuckles, really nicely made actually. I really like those pieces. Fluting is a surefire sign that this guy is evil. You've only got to look back to the Lord of the Rings films. The German Gothic style was definitely in use in Mordor. Not only that, he's got this massive, great big sheepskin around his neck. Sheepskins are added all the time by medieval costume designers, and I don't understand why. They're really not historical at all in the way that they're shown. You know, these big things. Maybe it's to make the actors look bigger and more intimidating. I think there are other ways that you could do that. We definitely know that in the 15th century, they added padding to certain parts of their outfits to make them look more impressive and more imposing. This is something that you could do with a costume design without having to add these huge sheepskin rugs on people's shoulders. Another thing, the lady definitely needs nicer clothes. At the beginning of the film, she's mistaken for a serving maid, but she's the daughter of the King of France. There is no way that you would be able to mistake the daughter of the King of France for a serving maid. No way at all. There were actually laws in the medieval period in Europe that said what different ranks were able to wear. And this was so that you could tell what rank someone was from a distance. It was really important that you could do this because people at the top could hand out big punishments if they thought that someone was showing them a lack of respect. Finally, and this is just something that Hollywood does all the time, so this isn't just getting at the medieval film. All of the medieval period is not the same. So in watching the overall review from Bernadette Banner, we see that she gets on lots of different people, such as myself, who have specialisms in different periods of history. And it's really interesting to see how few of the medieval and ancient shows are given the top rating. And when we're looking at these, we're kind of, when you look at costumes, the more recent stuff, you look at it and you go, right, well, this is meant to be 1940s, but it's actually 1910s. You know, it's a couple of decades out. But when you get as far back as the medieval period or the ancient period, filmmakers, people tend to kind of view it all as just that period. So anything medieval is good for a film set in the medieval period, which is not right at all, especially the 15th century. The 15th century is just after a period of massive improvement in armor. The armor in the 13th century is mostly male, and then throughout the 14th century, there is a transition between mail and plate. Plates are coming in and articulation is being applied to these plates that allow people to wear more and more plate armor in places they never were able to before. Film set in 1401 should have some people wearing extremely high quality full plate armor. We don't see that at all in this film. That's a real shame for me because I love 15th century armor, especially the early stuff is so clean in its lines. And for a lot of the costumes in this film, where they have used decent armor, like on some of the background characters, they've kind of ruined it a bit by adding on extra things to bulk them out and make them bigger. The 15th century ideal for armor is a very simple look. It doesn't get busy until a lot later in the 15th century. And these clean lines could make some really, really beautiful costumes. You could also add in some of the earlier stuff from the transition period, especially as many of the characters here are not at the highest point of the social ladder. But a lot of this stuff just becomes generic medieval, and they've obviously bought stuff from sellers going, oh yeah, this looks good, or gone to prop stores, this looks medieval. And it doesn't really tell the story through the costumes, which is a real shame for me. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please do leave a like and share it if you did. You can check out my Patreon in the description down below. And if you're not already subscribed, then please do that. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Cash and I would really like to thank you for watching this far into the video. Either you really liked it and you stayed this long, you really disagreed with most of the stuff in it and now you're very angry and typing a comment, or maybe you've just left a playlist playing and it's cropped up. If it's the first one, please do feel free to leave a like and or share, and if you haven't already, then subscribe. Thank you very much to my patrons for all of the support, and you can find a link to that and to my merch shop in the description down below. Thank you very much. Cash doesn't actually mind either way. I don't think she knows too much about YouTube. Do you go?